This is one of the unique moments in European research area history where so many projects come together to make a policy impact. What I wanted to focus on here, because what happens at your borders becomes reflected also inside your country. When you give the message to your population that people should be kept away by using externalization policies, and they're expendable at sea when they're trying to reach your borders for safety, then this picture will be reflected in the opinion of your citizens, and discrimination processes will strengthen and be reinforced by the very actions of your states and of the European Union itself. So there's an interplay between the boundaries, what's happening at the boundaries, and what's happening inside the integration processes here. This is the one thing that I wanted to take up. And related to this, it's also important to remember, this is in relation to your question, being forced to the wall, to the corner, and having to choose between whether a human rights approach and discourse should be chosen, or the market-oriented logic, market-oriented integration of immigrants. I have seen some very good suggestions that sound very good when taken in an isolated way from the other dimensions. For example, one of them was about convincing the European populations that there are some areas of the economy in rural areas and etc. where migrants can be useful. So if citizens know about this, then we will also develop the attitudes to immigrants and immigration because they're useful. But there's a downside to that. What happens when they're not needed anymore in economic terms? What happens when we don't actually need their labor or whatever through their existence in our territories? This kind of thinking is a double-edged sword, and I think it should be abandoned for a more human rights and citizen rights approach. So combined with the Ukrainian crisis that we're seeing here, two different groups of refugees are being treated very differently here, the Ukrainians and the Africans and Middle Easterners and etc., others, non-Europeans. I think one of the advantages of the European integration history for Europe, the advantage for Europe is that in order to consolidate the European population, the European Union promoted a territorial European identity. Whoever is the citizen of a European Union country territorially is also the citizen of the European and is also a European. And I think this is now helping us a little bit, because Ukraine has been considered as a European country, and there's a cultural and ideological dimension to that as well. If you you have released, or you want to release your bonds to the Russia and former Soviet Union bloc, and if you are more for democracy, then you are more accepted as a European, and this is helping now. And it's also that these Eastern European countries of the European Union can identify more easily what's happening to the Ukrainians there.